Hello, welcome again. I'm here with Kristin this week, and we're just going to have a bit of a chat about faith and her journey in faith. So, Kristin, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, Ben. I'm Kristin Daniell. I live at just out of Kabowie on a farm, and I've got 3 boys, older boys.
3 older boys?
Yeah.
Tell us, where did your journey in faith start?
Back when I was 24 at the Christian Family Centre in Seaton in Adelaide. And so it's a bit over 30 years ago now.
Yeah.
And God got hold of me. It was just a visiting minister, and he was just singing. That's all he did, was sing. And the Holy Spirit was so powerful that I just had my hand up when they gave an invitation, and I went down the front, and it was incredible. And I always look back at those times whenever I have doubts or things are a bit tricky, and I really thank the Lord that day he did radically save me, and I was never the same again.
Yeah. Were you going to that church before then?
No, I wasn't a Christian.
Time?
Yeah, it was just Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's why Easter's, I suppose, is very special for me, but also for a lot of people. And
so how did you end up at the service?
My mum invited me to come along, and I thought, oh, well, I'll do the right thing.
Keep mum happy?
Keep mum happy. And, yeah, they were going there, mum and her husband. And, it was just a invitation. It was an evening service, and incredible. It's just incredible. It's so real, and it's still so real today. Yeah.
And so that was that kind of first moment, and faith, it doesn't change over time. It does change, but I think the better word's develop and mature and strengthens, I guess.
Yeah.
Can you maybe touch on how your faith has kind of developed in your life over the years, and what's maybe give us a picture of that?
Yeah. So after becoming a Christian, I'm very sort of organised, but I wanted to do everything I possibly could to learn everything about Jesus. And at that point, the Christian Family Centre had lessons. So I wanted to know, how do I get into these lessons? How, show me everything I need to do. Give me the books I need to read. And so I went along to, was probably 12 months of, once a week just learning, and I went to every single service I could, and I really felt God place in my heart a real serving spirit, and that so I volunteered for everything. I was in everything, at everything, and God just developed me from there really quickly. Yeah. And but I was so hungry for Him that, and I was so determined that nothing would stand in my way. I didn't want any person or thing pulling me aside and away from what God had rescued me from. I was so grateful.
Yeah. And do you reckon that community of faith played a huge part in that?
Absolutely, yeah. So part of the teaching was, I had friends, obviously, that weren't Christians, and part of the teaching was the majority of your friends are to be Christians and minority not. And so I applied that to my life, and I told everyone what had happened to me, and that I am full on now for God. If you want to come along, great. If not, well, we'll catch up for coffee for sure.
Yeah. But
I'd made that decision because my life beforehand, before becoming a Christian, was just terrible and difficult and hard and heartbreaking. And so to have a purpose and a hope and know that God had an awesome future for my life when I was 24 was so exciting.
Yeah, so it was a real radical shift, so you had to make radical change.
Massive shift, yeah. But I was up for it, and, when people say, I have to give up so much, you don't give up a thing. You gain just so much in your life, and I'm just passionate about, of course, serving in the church, but also telling other people that their life doesn't have to be the way it is, that Jesus is there for them. Yeah.
So what does your faith look like today?
Today, I suppose it's sort of once you get married and you have children, it focuses around that. And we're on a farm, so there's all of that farming stuff to do. Cooking, so much cooking. And, but still, I was thinking about that and still so passionate about Jesus, about serving, about seeing things that maybe need to be done and doing them, and passing those values on to my children to allow them to see that it's not just a 2-week commitment, but God's here forever, and He keeps changing you, and nothing gets boring. Yeah. So that's what I love about it. Yeah.
What does following Jesus and walking with Jesus look like in the day-to-day? So how do you specifically maybe spend time with God, or what does that look like in your life?
Yeah, that is like reading what you and Darren are putting up in Mark, and doing my best. I'm not really good at sitting still. So, that part, I'm a more walk around. The Holy Spirit's with me the whole time. So as I'm doing things, I'm asking Him what, praying, and I'm a bit of a note person, so I write stuff out and pop it in the wardrobe and pray about that. I've always found it really hard to sit for an hour and pray. I just can't cope with that.
Well, not many people.
No.
I can't.
That's it. So it's on the go. It's reading His Word. It's, playing music when I can. And that's the way it should be. Yeah. I think it should be.
Well, I don't think there's no perfect way to spend time with God, because we've all got different personalities. Yeah. We've all got different... I remember having a friend in Adelaide, and she could just pray for hours. And I found after 10 minutes, I was just like daydreaming and thinking about the footy score, or I'm like, oh gosh, sorry God. But we've all got different personalities. Yeah. And the idea is spending time with God, not the exact method.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's good, Ben. Yeah.
Thank you, Kristin.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.